welcome everybody watching in the Starlight Express rooms around the country, and to all of our friends out there on Facebook Live. Hi guys, how are you going? Before we start, I would love to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are tuning into today, and I'd like to pay my respects to their continuing culture and their contributions they make to the life of this country. Today, I am coming to you from Ghana land in South Australia. And today, also, we are joined by a very amazing author who has written such titles as Hickory Dickory Dash, Bar Bar Blue Sheep, and The Cow That Tripped Over the Moon. Guys, you know who I'm talking about. The man, the myth, the legend. Welcome, Tony Wilson. How are you, Tony?
I'm very well. How are you, Captain?
Good. Love the salute. That was great.
I am coming to you from Wurundjeri land here in Melbourne.
Excellent.
We're in lockdown, of course. Very jealous of you over in South Australia and all you people in Queensland and New South Wales as well. But I've heard that we are going to be free soon and we can't wait.
Excellent. And you guys can get back out there and go on some adventures, maybe kick some football. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
Absolutely.
Who knows? Well, thank you so much for joining us. I got a quick question just to kick us off. How long have you been an author for?
My first book came out in 2004. It was called Saurus Rex, and it was a story of a grandma who went on a lolly-eating binge with her grandson, and she turned into a dinosaur in kind of this vivid sugar-induced stupor that they both went into. And so Saurus Rex was the first one, 2004, which for those of you kids out there who are good at maths was how many years ago? Yes, 16 years ago.
Yes. Yep, I was right there. 16. That's what I was going to say. I also want to give a quick shout out to Sophie, who is watching along on Facebook. Hey, Sophie, if
Hi,
anybody
Sophie
out there watching along has any questions or comments, jump in on Facebook Live and type them in. They'll get them to me. I'll ask Tony. The circle will be complete. So about a granny who has a sugar binge and turns into a dinosaur.
Yes, Saurus Rex. And then since then, there's been about another 20 books. So I've had a good run. Some of them have been grown-ups books, and most of them have been kids books.
Where do you get the inspiration to write the stories? Where does that come from?
I think it's something that amuses me. If I have a thought that amuses me, so for example, it's easier for me to give examples than to say where it comes each time. Other than exercise, I find exercise is when these good ideas happen.
Ooh.
But I might be going along and thinking, an emo is a word that you might use for someone who's a grump. And then I thought of what if there was a grumpy emu? I could call him Emo the Emu. And so I laughed about that little rhyming title, that little reflecting title. And then suddenly I go, so how can I write a story about a grumpy emu? And then the story goes from there. And so each time it's something that I'm talking about as a conversation, it might be a little expression. I remember Harry High Pants was one of mine. And Harry High Pants was I just found that really funny. Someone called my dad a Harry High Pants because he was wearing his pants too high. And I thought, that's a funny little name. I'll go and Google it and see if anyone's already written a story called Harry High Pants. But no one had, so I had to go at it. And so that's how the book happened. Yeah.
So like a lot of wordplay. Like you sort of because it's the amazing thing about language, right? Like especially the English language, there's like a lot of like words can mean different things, and then you can they sound very similar, so you can change them around and stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so clever. I also want to give another shout out to Jenny. She's saying hi.
Hi, Jenny.
She is from Victoria, and Mateo as well is saying hi as well. So you got all your fans tuning in, saying hi.
It's great. I'm thinking of all the kids this weekend in hospital because it's a tricky time and you're doing really well. Everyone stick at it because as I said, my thoughts are going out to you, and I hope we can have a bit of fun this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I think fun is going to be the absolute key. And to kick us off on that fun, we will be talking a bit about football. We're gonna have look, guys. Let's be honest. We're gonna have a big chat about all things football in a moment. But first off, you are going to read us one of your very famous stories. It's the cow who tripped over the moon, is that right?
It is. Now, this one is very special to me. I actually think this is my best book. It's a story, and you say, how do I get the ideas? Well, this one was one where I always sang this song to my kids as they were growing up. And I always thought, oh, the cow just jumps over the moon. I mean, surely she didn't do it first time. I mean, who could just jump over a moon without practicing? And so I thought, what if I wrote a story? And those two words help me write stories. If I say, what if this happened? What if I write a story where the cow doesn't get over it first time, where the cow has to train and to practice and to stick at it and cope with failure and defeat and then come back and fight again? And Captain, I was a footballer in my youth. I was actually drafted to Hawthorn, and I love sporting stories. And for me, this is actually a sporting story, because anyone who wants to play sport well has to get used to the idea that things won't always happen easily the first time. It's about building a skill, it's about getting better, and it's about dealing with the times that don't succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually funny that you went on. Just really quickly before we jump in, we've got a question already. People are just like, it's flowing. We come from Boomer and Patch. They're on Facebook. Hey, Boomer and Patch, what's happening? Their question is there something that you do before you start writing? Like, do you have like a little, like, I know you said that you asked the questions of like, why or like how did this person do it, but is it like you guys have like a little maybe like ritual or something that you do before you start writing?
Well, the most important thing is to think. So to actually, I often find if I'm walking or riding my bike, I'll go, okay, cow's going to try to jump over the moon, she's going to miss. What are the different things that could go wrong for her? And so I'll start to think of, well, she could go, I don't want to give the story away, but, she could go the wrong way and go over the sun. That's just one idea that comes to you. And so you start sort of brainstorming those, and you might take some notes. And then it's very important then to sit down and start writing. And in fact, that's the bit that most people put off. They don't want to start writing. They want to keep thinking. They want to keep putting it off, because writing is scary in case you don't do it well. Yeah. So what I would say to people is, just like cow, at some point you've got to dive in and have a go. You
gotta just do it. You gotta. Well, I think we should just do it. I think we should read it, because I am so pumped. Here we go.
Here we are. This is The Cow Tripped Over the Moon. It's written by me, Tony Wilson, and it's illustrated by the great Laura Wood, who lives in Italy, in Milan. And we've never actually met. We've done it all over email, and it's published by Scholastic Australia. Hey diddle diddle, you all know the riddle. A cow jumps over the moon. It happened all right on a crisp, cloudless night on the second last Friday in June. But what they don't say in the songs from that day is the cow didn't jump at first time. It seems a moon clearance takes great perseverance. So back to the scene of the rhyme. Moon attempt 1, 9:17 p.m. And I often get kids to look up at the moon at this point and to say moon, but you've got to say it like a cow would say it, okay?
Okay.
Ready, Captain?
Yeah, I'm ready. I went a bit wolf, but we got there in the end.
Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow fell flat on her face. In fact, she tripped over the little dog Rover, so never did make it to space. Moon attempt 2, 9:28 p.m. Eyes up, Captain. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow took off for the moon. The moon it was nearing. The dog started cheering. But the cow hit a hot air balloon.
We've all been there.
Moon attempt 3, 10:12 p.m. Eyes up. Hey diddle, better. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped under the moon. The run-up was slow. She was never a show. And the fiddle was quite out of tune. Moon attempt 4, 10:56 p.m. Now this is the footy person in me calls this the halftime moon attempt.
Okay.
Hey diddle diddle, the dish and the fiddle. The cat mucked around with the spoon. The cow felt quite lazy. The details are hazy, and nobody went near the moon.
Okay. Taking a break, regrouping, getting it together. I get it.
But she hasn't given up, Captain. She hasn't given up.
Never give up.
Moon attempt 5, 1:15 a.m. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow tripped over the moon. The little dog laughed. He laughed till he barfed when the cow landed in a sand dune. Moon attempt 6, 2:25 a.m. Eyes up. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow got this takeoff right.
Yes.
She flew up so high that the moon sailed straight by. And the cow rode a meteorite.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is happening to this cow? Oh my God.
It is all happening, Captain.
Yeah.
Moon attempt 7, 4:47 a.m. We're getting towards morning. Eyes up.
Yeah.
Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped over the sun. Ah! She took a wrong turn, felt the fire and the burn, and didn't have very much fun.
No.
My whole life I wanted to do a picture book which has a page with no writing on it. And we finally achieved it. Just like Where the Wild Things Are, except not as successful.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Not yet.
Not yet. A new day was dawning. The grass smelled like morning. The cow stared into the sky. The night's almost over, she said to Dog Rover, a tear welling up in her eye. The dish fed her water and tried to support her. You've got to get over this hump. The spoon hummed a tune he called Cow Can Jump Moon and prepared her for one last moon jump. And look, it's the Super Cow page.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
The whole group together said, Cow, now or never. We know that you'll make it this time. And as of this night, we'll remember your flight in a hey diddle diddly rhyme. And now, kids, be upstanding, because this is it. This is where we get to the famous bit, the bit where you can sing along. Captain, sing along with me.
Okay.
Moon attempt 8, 5:43 a.m. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped over the moon. Hooray! The little dog laughed to see such fun, and the dish
ran away with the spoon.
There you go.
Yay!
Yay! She did it. And there's the dancing cow, and there's the dancing dish and the spoon, and it's morning, and they're partying like it's tomorrow, which it is. So well done, cow. There you go.
That's amazing. What a journey. Oh.
Yeah. And that book went on a great journey that involved the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne and the Starlight Foundation. I met a Captain Starlight because it was the National Simultaneous Storytime book in 2017. And that meant that 686,000 kids, including the kids at all the live streams in the hospitals, all read that together 3 years ago now. So it's actually the highlight of my author life.
That's got to be an amazing feeling to like so many people are like listening and connecting with my work at the same time. That's amazing. That is such an amazing story about like perseverance and like just keep going, keep trying, keep working, and you'll get there. Like what inspired you to sort of use that particular nursery rhyme of all of them?
Well, first of all, I love that nursery rhyme. I think it's a wacky nursery rhyme that's got great characters in it, like a dish and a spoon, and it's a great little song as well. And I did sing that song the most to my 4 kids, and I've got 4
Right.
kids. But I was also inspired by the fact that that people do have to try really hard to do things. And the thing I tried hardest at, Captain, was footy.
Mm.
So I was
Mhm.
obsessed with footy, and we're going to talk
Right.
a lot about footy today, I think. But certainly the dream I had was footy, and it was the sort of pursuit, because my dad had played in a premiership for Hawthorn in 1971. So I was surrounded by the mythology of his career and how well he'd gone. And there I am, that little blonde thing. That hair was always destined for greatness, wasn't it? But the blonde mop of my 11-year-old self, and wearing a Tigers jumper, even though I was a Hawks supporter, played for the Balwyn Tigers. And I was absolutely obsessed with this game. I slept with a footy. I had a footy at the bottom of my doona each night. You would never see me walking around the house without a footy. My dad made me a little indoor footy out of stockings that I could kick between the doors. And I used to listen to the radio, and before Champion Data, I would take my own stats from the radio whenever anyone got a kick. And I was once asked to do an artwork where we had to respond to 20 words with a picture. And for 17 of the words, I drew footy-related stuff. So I was this crazy little footy nut, and spent hours of my, just all of my life was dedicated towards it. And it felt to me as though that pursuit of that footy dream, which I had from the age of 2, was, I was the cow. It didn't matter what was going to get in my way. I was going to keep trying to reach that footy goal. Yeah.
Wow, 2. That's so. Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Just before I ask the next question, just want to give a real quick shout out to Noah in Sydney. And Sophie has a message for you. She says she liked the story, and she says you read it really well.
Oh, thank you, Sophie.
I got to agree with Sophie. That was great. That was a great reading of that book. So you just became obsessed with AFL. It is the grand final tomorrow. Which I would imagine you're very, very excited about.
Yeah, I am. It's actually,
So go on.
I was just going to say it's a little different here in Melbourne. We'd normally have a parade today, which I would take my kids in to watch, and we'd go into the MCG. But I'm going to give a big shout out to the people of Brisbane, and hopefully there are some AFL people up there who have never seen a grand final and are about to have a really fun day tomorrow, enjoying our big event.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be like a real great opportunity for like with your books, like we're talking about with your illustrator is in Italy, which I think is amazing. Like a real big collaboration and like really opening it up to like a whole new audience as well. Like with the story time, the actual story time, like a lot of people get to experience this a unique event. Really, let's be honest.
Absolutely,
it's going to be amazing. So did you always like want to play football? Like, was that when you were like little? Like, was that your goal? That you're like, I'm a football player, or I'm nothing? Or did you have other sort of things that you were interested in?
No, I definitely was interested in other things. I mean, if you look at why I am an author today, I really think it's because I had this interest in reading and books. So my mum and dad were both trained as teachers. Mum was a science teacher and my dad was a history teacher, but they were really prolific readers to me. They read to me every night. And so I think I just had this hunger for stories and books. And so as the footy thing was going along, and if you had said to me any day of my teenage years, what do you want to be? I would have said first, I want to be a Hawthorn footballer. But then there was another element, which was, and there I am.
Look at him. Oh.
Yeah. This is me on the MCG. So I achieved some parts of my dream. I got drafted to Hawthorn as a father-son pick. And I was 4 years down there at Hawthorn. But what happened was that I didn't achieve the last important bit of the dream, which was to play. I played in the reserves and the under-19s, and then didn't get picked. I was a little injury prone and a little slow, and that ended up counting against me, and I didn't make the big time. So the dream went in a different direction. But certainly, if you had have asked me, Captain, throughout my childhood, that was the number one dream, and everything was geared towards that. So I would train all the time. I would be out the back. We had these 2 trees in the back of my house.
I heard it. I heard a little. There's a story about these 2 trees.
Well, they were really bent. They were these 2 gum trees, and they had all the little knobbly elements of a tree, and they had this little gap between it. And I would just stand, sort of stand in exactly the spot where you had to kick it perfectly to go between the bend of the tree. Yeah. And that was just hours and hours. So I look at my kids and see them sort of do a lot of computer games, actually. But I reckon the amount of time that my son enjoys on Roblox, I would spend kicking at a tiny little gap between 2 gum trees, where I would try to practice my straight drop punts. And so, if I give credit to how did I get drafted? How did I get my skill to the point where I was a really good junior player?
Yeah.
And that was those 2 gum trees played a big role in it.
Yeah, I love this idea about the dream changing and the dream adapting. And I love the fact that you took 2 gum trees, adapted them to meet your dream, and then you got to play for your team for Hawthorn, and then that didn't end up working out. And things change along the way, things happen, and then you've then changed your dream. You're still writing about football, you're still involved in football. So what happened after you left Hawthorn and you went out? What was your next step? Because that's got to be quite strange, because you're like, this is all I ever wanted to do, and now I can do anything. And what leads you down the road of writing amazing children's books?
Well, I was delisted in 1992 at Hawthorn, and then in 1995 I did a pre-season at Essendon. And again, I didn't get picked up. So that's when it was over. I knew I wasn't going to make it. And so I actually did law for a little while, and I was a lawyer, but I didn't enjoy that very much. It was never that was never my dream. In fact, it's good to try
other things out. How do you know what you like if you don't know what you don't like? You know what I mean? Yeah. So absolutely.
Yeah. But what I did was I ended up applying for a television show that was called Race Around the World. And Race Around the World was I guess it was like a reality show, but it was also like a documentary show. So documentary, making a story, a real life story, but traveling to different countries around the world. And so over 100 days, I went to 10 countries. I went to Bolivia, the USA, I went to Idaho and Alaska. I went to Italy, Lebanon, France, Israel, Kenya, India, and China. And I did child acrobats in China. I did the World Cup in France. I did so many different stories, and it was great. And that was the thing that gave me my break. It put me on national television, and it was from there that I was able to get to get involved in writing stories for the newspaper and then books. And so that's how it happened, Captain.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. That's a lot of countries very, very quickly.
It is.
Talking about writing, now one of your series that you have is about the Selwell boys?
The Selwood boys, yeah.
Selwood boys, sorry. Selwell, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Here they
are. Selwood boys. Yeah, there they are.
Yeah, that's them. It looks like the school formal or something.
Yeah. It does a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, they're your books. There they are.
These are them here.
Yeah. Now, talking about training and talking about persistence and working at something and honing those skills to achieve your dreams. Now, have I got this right that the 4 brothers, who are amazing footballers now in their own rights, and I believe that it is Joel who is actually captaining Geelong tomorrow in the AFL final?
He is.
Amazing.
What a player.
But they weren't allowed to train until they were 10 years old. Have I got that right?
Oh, they were allowed to train. In fact, they would tell you that you have to train so hard and keep practicing, and that those first 10 years are about developing your skills and your hunger to play as well. But their dad didn't let them play any games until they were 10, because he said you'll have enough time to play games once you're older, and it's good for your body to start a little later. It's good for you to be hungry and really wanting to play. And it was the same rules that my dad made as well, actually. I wasn't allowed to play until I was 10. And Joel then, he took to it like a duck to water. He was the best and fairest in the Bendigo junior competition every year that he played. So he was the best player in the competition every year. We won the Brownlow of the juniors. He still holds hurdling records 20 odd years later from the under 11s and under 12s. He was a brilliant athlete in Bendigo. And not only, yes, sorry.
I was going to say, thanks, go on.
Yeah, and his brothers and they were all playing mad games in the backyard. And the books are all about that kind of the excitement of growing up in a very sporty and it's great.
So they were training in just football, or did they train in other things? Did they do other sports? Because a lot of the time, it takes sometimes when you do another sport, it'll can unlock a little bit of skills that you might not have had and stuff like that. Did they do that sort of thing as well?
Absolutely. They were all basketballers. That teaches you a lot about hand-eye and quickness with your hands, and great for your vision as well. And everyone always makes a big deal about Scott Pendlebury, the Collingwood captain, being a very good basketballer. But certainly the Selwoods were basketballers. There's a picture of Joel holding my son Jack, who's he's got cerebral palsy actually. So there's Joel giving Jack a hug, and that was the launch of the Selwood boys. But they practiced basketball, they practiced hurdling, they did a lot of athletics, and they honed their skills that way with other sports as well as just footy. Yeah.
Now, because they sound like they were a natural at sport, as do you. What could you do? Do you think? Because I'm gonna be super honest with you now, Tony.
Yeah.
Not so good. Not so good at any sport, actually.
Yeah.
What sort of things could I do, or the guys watching out there on Facebook or in Starlight Express? What could we do to improve our skills? What sort of thing?
Well, to get a little softball to hold the whole time. So to learn how balls it's playing with balls and getting the feel of it. And then there's practicing the action. There are some technical lessons to learn, but mostly it's repetition, doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And probably every AFL footballer that you ever speak to has met that old rule that if you do something for 10,000 hours, you'll be good at it. And so that's a long time, right? So, but they've grown up doing it. And sometimes you get exceptions that are just freaks with any ball. And so someone like Mason Cox has come over from basketball in the US, and he's become a great AFL footballer. But mostly AFL is a learned skill. The practice, the more hours, the more likely you are to get good at it. So if you set up the trees like I had and just kick a ball at it, if you look at YouTube to get technical on where you should be holding your hands for different types of kicks, if you bounce the ball over and over, practicing that guiding the ball down, that helps kicking and bouncing. Remember with your handballing, a flat hand and knocking the ball off the pancake with the swinging fist with the elephant trunk, and that's just aim it at a target. And it's amazing how over a year you'll be so much better than you were last year. Even if you're never going to make it to AFL, you might just want to play better for your junior team and have more fun playing footy. And I think you'd feel that if your skills are improving.
So I got to practice.
And you can always get fit. So the people who get to the ball the most get it the most. So you don't have to be a good player to be fit. If you get out there on the streets and try to run, 500 meters and then run 1K and then run 1.5K and then run 2K. And if you can't run, then do the swimming to get your lungs strong and your fitness good, then the improvement will start to come.
Now, you've made the team, right? So you've trained. I'm just setting a little thing because I know you wrote an excellent book called A Boy Named Bob.
Yeah.
And so there it is. And if you make the team, you've trained, you get into the team, but sometimes it's not that easy to get into the team, is it? Really, because there's a lot of other people are training and doing other things as well, and I guess that's where resilience would sort of play a real big factor in this.
So sport is one of those things where it's hard. There's disappointments and things will go wrong. Injuries will happen. You might not get picked. Bob Murphy, champion, 311 game footballer who, he should have played in a grand final, but he had an injury at exactly the wrong moment. But even when he was a kid, when he was a 15-year-old, he would have thought he was really good enough to be picked for the Gippsland Power. But they overlooked him. The coaches said, no, I think that kid thinks everything's coming a bit easily for him. And so they didn't pick him. And he says that was one of the key moments of his life, that when he wasn't picked for that under-16 Gippsland Power squad, he went, maybe I've got to get a little bit fitter, practice a bit harder, play a bit better in the games here in Warragul. And before he knew it, he was 5 months later, he was in that squad. And 1 year later, he was the best player in that squad. So
wow.
it was like the rocket he needed to make him a better player. And that will keep happening. Players get dropped. Players go out of form. It is the cow. She's going to trip over the moon sometimes. She's going to miss the moon, and she's going to go the wrong way. But the sign of a good footballer and a good athlete is the ability to adjust. And I think it's so much the sign of everything. I if you're trying to teach my kids their times tables or whatever, and they might get frustrated, and I just want to show them cow again. Like you just won't get it. You won't get it first time in anything in life. Usually, it just takes a few goes.
It's one of those things where like you kind of look at it and you go, the cow tripping over the moon is like, well, if he hadn't sort of tripped over and had those hurdles, maybe he wouldn't be as great a jumper as Cal ended up being in the end, without sort of going, oh, like this is not going to come easy to me. I got to work at this, and I got to practice.
Yeah, it's the mistakes that make us, and I can imagine a lot of kids in hospital at the moment, because my son, I said, has got cerebral palsy.
Yeah,
and I dedicated Cal to him because he has to try harder than most kids, I reckon. He can't walk without a walking aid. And so there's that sense of, each step is a struggle, And so I watch him be brave and keep trying. He's never going to be Joel Selwood, right? He's actually probably never going to walk. But I see how much he wants to get better at the things that he's practicing. And I find that very inspiring. And it was very much the reason that I wrote I dedicated Cow Tripped Over the Moon to him, is that I don't know anyone who tries harder than Jack. So I know a lot of kids, because I go into the children's hospital with Jack, and I know a lot of kids in there might be looking at the moon thinking it's a fair way away. But I do think that if we keep trying, we get as close as we can.
Now, on Jack and his football, I believe that in your second Selwood Boys book, you have Joel has a friend called Ray who also has cerebral palsy. Yeah. And his dream was not to be a big star, but he just wanted to play a game, and he wanted to kick a goal. And I believe that your Jack had the same dream. Have I got that right?
That's pretty right. So this is a true story, that Joel Selwood helped a kid with a disability to get a goal playing for the team up in Bendigo, his junior team up in Bendigo. And so I did base the friend character in this story, which is called the Miracle Goal. That becomes Joel's object. He shares a science project with this kid, Ray, and they want to get him a goal in the footy on the weekend. And I think it's a really lovely one. My son, Jack, he wanted to do Auskick. His friends were doing Auskick from primary school. And so we did that. And but Jack can't walk, as I said. So we have a device known as an upsie. An upsie is it's like a harness. I think we've actually got the video of him getting his goal. It's pretty cute. So he got to participate. I don't know if they can show that now, but
we've got the video. Should we play it?
Yeah, play it.
Let's play the video.
So it's really lovely. It warms my heart to see it. Yeah. So taller now, and I can't really use the upsie on him, but we still get out and jump on the trampoline where I can bear his weight. Mm-hmm. And he does love getting upright and being a part of things. And so it's a real life highlight that we got to go to Auskick and to be a part of it. And I thank Northcote Auskick for that.
Yeah. Talk about inspirational about that idea of, I feel like a lot of your work and a lot of the stuff that you do is all about perseverance and, like, disappointments will happen, and you've got to persevere. Now, I believe you do have a new book coming out as well, don't you?
I do.
I tell you what, I feel a little bit like I'm a bit suspicious because I'm like, I've got this piece of information, but I believe what is your new book about?
So this one is Humpty Dumpty Sat on the Slide, and it's the fourth one in the series with the Cow Tripped Over the Moon. There's been Hickory Dickory Dash and also Bar Bar Blue Sheep, but that was Hickory Dickory Dash. But this one is about Humpty Dumpty is about friendship. So it's about Humpty is a bit of a klutz. He falls over a lot. He got stuck on the slide. Goes in a race. Humpty Dumpty ready to race. Humpty Dumpty flat on his face, and he just needs a friend. And so the story is about a friend standing up for him, stopping all the king's horses and all the king's men from laughing at him, and being a much more respectful and good friend. And so in the end, it's about a friend and Humpty jumping off a jumping castle and having a great fall, and then all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't tear Humpty away from his friend. So that is this one here. Yeah.
Such a great message. And talking about friends and friendly comments, we've got a comment here from Megan, and she says that was a sensational goal by Jack.
Oh, sensational.
Sensational. I think that actually might get the play of the day. That goal.
Captain, can I say something? While I think Megan might be a mum in there at the hospital, and because she uses the word sensational, she's an aide for my son Jack.
Oh,
and
great!
Has been really important in his life. And Megan is in there with a legend of football, a bloke by the name of Gus, who's 13. And he is spending this term at the Children's Hospital in Melbourne. And we are thinking of you, Gus. And I know that there's a man who can persevere, a boy who could persevere, and he's going to be up and about before he knows it. And I can't wait to see him. I'm going to go to his comeback game when he starts playing footy again. So go Bombers, Gus. I don't say that very often. And get better soon.
Absolutely, Gus. Gus and Megan, great to hear from you guys. Thanks for saying in your comments. Tony, unfortunately, that's all the time we've got for today. I really feel like I could just probably talk to you all day. But before we do go, what are your plans for tomorrow? What are you going to be doing? Where are you going to be watching the game? If you're watching the game at all, what are you going to be doing?
So I live in Northcote, and so it's really weird. Do you know that I've missed only 2 grand finals? Have I not been in the ground? I go to the ground every year because I'm an NCC member. Wow. So I missed in 1992, I missed in 1994, and I've been to every other one since 1981. So it's a very weird day for me tomorrow, and I'll really miss it. But I want to, just good luck, Queensland. You'll do a great job, and I'll be watching it at my house in Melbourne, and Jack will be with me. He loves it. My other son, Harry, and this goes to show that kids are all different and they choose their own things, but I doubt I'll be able to encourage Harry to watch it. It's not really his interest area. But certainly we're going to have a really fun day, maybe a jump on the trampoline, bit of a barbecue, and hang out here at home in Northcote.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. That sounds so excellent. It's amazing that you've only missed 2 since 1981. It's
amazing.
That is crazy. That's like 40 years.
I know. Look at how old I am nowadays.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was not saying that at all. But seriously, Tony, thank you so much for coming and talking to us and giving this time to us. You're an amazing author, and it's so good that you're putting out the word of positivity and perseverance and stuff out there into our community. And we really appreciate your time. So thank you.
No worries, Captain. A salute at the start, a salute at the end, and a salute to all the kids as well in hospital, because I'm thinking of you, and I want great outcomes for everyone. So all the best, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And guys out there watching along, the fun does not have to end here at all. You can find us on Starlight Kids TV on YouTube. There'll be there's other content on there. You can rewatch this again. You can watch it again and again and again. There's Tony's books. Go and check them out. Please go and check them out. They're so good. They're so amazing. And check out his the Selwood books as well about Selwood Boys. They're amazing as well. And do something really nice for yourself. Just have a fantastic afternoon, have a fantastic weekend, and enjoy the football tomorrow. And I say, go teams that are playing, who I definitely know who you are. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Tony, once again.
See you later, kids.
And we will see you guys next time. Bye.